We literally came back from school, climbed on our ponies, and we lived just under the downs.
Employees lied and used fake documents to obtain the interview with my mother.
Alleged palace leaks hint at a breathtaking royal twist. Queen Camilla is said to be in tears as senior aides debate a surprise move that could redefine her place in history. Could a hidden family rift be to blame? Keep watching for the full story and subscribe now for breaking alerts. Imagine the quiet Scottish Highlands at the height of summer. Rolling green hills, the soft echo of bagpipes in the distance, and travelers arriving from around the world. Balmoral Castle, long seen as a private refuge for the royal family, is usually alive with curious visitors and local chatter. But on this particular morning, something feels off. Without warning, the gates are locked. A short, almost chilling announcement goes out. Closed to the public effective immediately due to a security concern. No details, no time frame, just silence. Tourists who had saved for years to see this historic estate are turned away, stunned. Local guides exchange uneasy glances. This isn't a seasonal closure for repairs or a last-minute private gathering. It's peak tourist season. Hotels are booked, tickets are sold, and yet the castle, a place woven into the memory of Queen Elizabeth II, stands sealed. Speculation sparks like a match. Former security officials appear on morning shows, wondering aloud about a possible breach. Some quietly suggest betrayal from within. For many, the idea is unthinkable, but how else could a fortress with decades of tight security suddenly be off-limits to the world? Back in London, the whispers grow louder. If Balmoral, arguably the most protected royal retreat, can shut down overnight, what could that mean for the heart of the monarchy itself? The unanswered questions start to weigh on everyone watching. And somewhere inside Buckingham Palace, another storm is already forming, one that will soon connect directly to this mysterious closure. While speculation swirls in Scotland, King Charles begins his day with a routine so private that only a few closest aides know about it. Deep inside Buckingham Palace, behind walls lined with old oak and centuries of royal history, sits a custom safe hidden in his private study. Inside the safe rests an heirloom of deep personal significance, a Welsh gold ring set with a vibrant green emerald. This is no ordinary jewel. It's a piece of history, passed down from King George VI to Queen Elizabeth II, and finally entrusted to Charles. To him, it isn't simply an object. It's a private crown, a symbol of lineage and duty, a silent reminder of the promise he made to uphold the crown's legacy. On most mornings, Charles opens the velvet box, slips the ring on his finger, and draws strength from its weight. But this morning, the ritual breaks. His hand touches only air. The box is gone. The safe is empty. For a moment, he thinks fatigue is playing tricks. He checks again, every corner, every hidden shelf, methodical, then frantic. Nothing. A chill spreads through him. His pulse quickens. Those who later saw him describe a man visibly shaken, the calm of a monarch suddenly replaced by raw urgency. Within minutes, he orders palace security to sweep the entire residence. Discreet teams comb through grand halls and forgotten servant corridors alike. Staff members are questioned quietly but thoroughly. Yet nothing surfaces. The heirloom has vanished without a trace. Behind closed doors, frustration boils over. Witnesses recall the thud of his fist on the mahogany desk and his voice, sharp with uncharacteristic fury. Find it at any cost. This is not just a jewel, it is my legacy. The disappearance is more than a personal loss. For a king already balancing public expectations and health challenges, it feels like an invisible strike at the heart of his reign. Could this have anything to do with Balmoral's sudden closure? Or is something even more complex unfolding within the walls of Buckingham Palace? Hours turn into days and tension builds. Security experts pore over every inch of evidence, but what they find only deepens the mystery. Fresh scratches mark the lock of the king's private study, precise and deliberate, nothing like the slip of an old key. Even stranger, the palace's state-of-the-art cameras went dark for 2 full hours on the very night the ring disappeared. Not a single frame captured. In more than a year of flawless operation, the system had never failed. Then comes another curious detail. One of Camilla's long-trusted aides, a woman with access to the king's private quarters, left the palace in the early morning after the incident, carrying a tightly sealed case. She hasn't returned. It's enough to make even the calmest advisors uneasy. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla seems untouched by the storm. She steps out for a London charity event dressed in a soft blue outfit, smiling easily for cameras. Her laughter is warm, her handshake steady, but sharp-eyed royal watchers notice something striking: a brand new bracelet gleaming on her wrist. Its central stone is a deep emerald, eerily similar to the gem from the missing Welsh gold ring. Could this simply be coincidence? Perhaps. Yet for those already following the ring's mysterious disappearance, the resemblance is impossible to ignore. Inside the palace, murmurs grow louder. Charles replays recent conversations, recalling moments when Camilla dismissed the ring as old-fashioned or questioned the need for such tight security. Remarks that once felt harmless now sound like pieces of a larger puzzle. The king's trusted advisor, Edward, pulls him aside with quiet urgency. "Your Majesty, this isn't just overstepping. It feels like power building. The ring, the sudden title whispers. It's all connected." But before Charles can decide his next step, another unexpected shock is about to throw the royal household into even deeper uncertainty. While investigators chase clues around Buckingham Palace, an unexpected alert catches King Charles completely off guard. One evening, as he reviews official updates on the royal family's website, he notices something that stops him cold. Camilla's official biography, once carefully labeled Queen Consort, has changed. Now in bold and unmistakable print, it simply reads Queen. No discussion, no announcement, no approval from the king. The change cuts deeper than a typo. The late Queen Elizabeth II had personally chosen the title Queen Consort to honor tradition and ease public acceptance. Seeing it silently replaced feels like a quiet rewriting of her final wishes. For Charles, the discovery is more than a digital surprise. It's a jolt to the heart of the monarchy. The update suggests authority moving beyond his reach. A trusted advisor, Edward, speaks carefully but firmly. "Your Majesty, this is not just an editing slip. It could be part of something bigger. The ring, the title, the subtle conversations with media strategists. They may all connect." Charles listens, his mind racing. The missing heirloom, the unexplained security breach, and now a public title shift all line up like pieces of a hidden design. Before he can call an emergency meeting, another shock hits. This time not from a quiet website change, but from a live national broadcast. It's July 25th, 2025, a date that will be replayed in royal documentaries for years to come. Out of nowhere, Queen Camilla appears live on ITV. No notice to the palace press office, no scheduled briefing. Just a sudden, brightly lit studio and Camilla seated confidently before the cameras. Her message, not tradition, but transformation. "We must not be bound by outdated symbols," she says, voice calm and persuasive. "Crowns, rings, and jewels are relics. Our worth should be measured by service and by our connection to people." To casual viewers, it sounds like forward-thinking leadership. But for a king still grieving the loss of a sacred heirloom, every word lands like a quiet challenge. Charles sits alone in his private study as the broadcast unfolds, the missing Welsh gold ring heavy on his mind. Could this be more than coincidence? Could she be speaking indirectly about the ring before the press uncovers its disappearance? News outlets pounce within minutes. Headlines appear across screens. Camilla redefines the crown. Queen questions royal symbols. And even crisis for Charles. Commentators debate fiercely. Some praise a modern vision of monarchy. Others wonder if Camilla is preempting a scandal by dismissing the very treasures now missing. But the night isn't over. As cameras power down and reporters scramble for reactions, Camilla herself disappears from public view. Calls to her personal staff go unanswered. No one knows where she is. Inside Buckingham Palace, Charles waits for answers, but receives only silence. And just as the kingdom buzzes with speculation, a new discovery in the palace gardens deepens the mystery. It's late evening. The moonlight lays silver ribbons across the palace gardens. Seeking fresh air and perhaps a moment of clarity, King Charles walks alone along quiet paths. A guard patrolling a rarely used gate suddenly notices something glimmering in the grass. He bends down and finds a small, brilliant shard, emerald green and catching the moonlight like a secret beacon. When the fragment is delivered to Charles, he freezes. The color, the cut, the very sparkle are unmistakable. It perfectly matches the jewel from the missing Welsh gold ring. But how did it end up outside, far from the hidden safe? And why is it broken? As he holds the fragment, another image flashes in his mind. Camilla's new bracelet, seen at the charity event days earlier, with stones so similar they could have been twins. Was the ring altered and reset? Was the fragment dropped in haste? Or is it proof of an accident during a hurried attempt to repurpose the jewel? Questions spiral faster than answers. Charles carries the shard inside, heart heavy. The discovery is not just evidence, it's a reminder that someone very close had access and opportunity. But rather than rushing into confrontation, the king senses there is still more beneath the surface. And he is right. Because even as he searches for explanations, Camilla's quiet influence is already reshaping the palace in ways that don't require a single ring. While headlines obsess over missing jewels and changing titles, another quieter strategy is at work, one that some insiders believe might be even more powerful. Camilla doesn't argue or issue royal decrees. Instead, she works through subtle presence. Over the months, she has steadily woven her family into royal life in small but unmistakable ways. Her son, Tom Parker Bowles, begins appearing at dinners with senior government ministers. Her daughter, Laura Lopes, is spotted at cultural events tied closely to royal charities. No speeches, no public statements, just quiet attendance. In the royal world, where tradition is shaped as much by familiarity as by law, simply being seen can rewrite expectations. The more often people see these faces in royal settings, the more natural their presence feels. One telling example stirs particular talk. A leaked seating chart from a major palace event shows Tom Parker Bowles placed directly beside the Archbishop of Canterbury. Was it coincidence or a deliberate message? An experienced palace aide whispers, "That was no accident. It was positioning." For Charles, this is deeply unsettling. He had fought for decades to bring Camilla into the royal family against public resistance. Now it seems she may be quietly paving a long-term legacy for her children, one that doesn't require official proclamations. Royal historians call it soft power. It doesn't demand, it suggests. It doesn't challenge openly. It normalizes. And once something is normalized in the monarchy, it can be nearly impossible to reverse. Is Camilla simply acting as a protective mother, making sure her children aren't forgotten? Or is she carefully shaping a future where they hold roles far beyond what tradition intended? Charles watches all of this unfold, the emerald shard still on his desk, and feels the weight of an entirely new kind of challenge, one that no security team can guard against. The morning is quiet, but the air inside Buckingham Palace feels heavy, almost electric. Charles has barely slept. Shadows under his eyes deepen as he paces the grand mirror-lined chamber, a room whose every surface reflects his own worried image back at him. In his hand, he clutches the fractured emerald shard, now a symbol of broken trust as much as a missing jewel. The doors open with a soft but final click. Camilla enters, wrapped in deep blue silk, her posture regal and calm. Notably absent is the emerald bracelet that once caught every camera flash. She meets his gaze without flinching. Charles turns, his voice raw from a night of silent rehearsals. He lays the shard on an antique table, its green flash bright beneath the chandelier. Where's the ring? Why the secret changes? Why these quiet moves that defy everything we promised? Camilla listens, perfectly still. Then, with deliberate grace, she opens a small bag and places a ring on the table. The Welsh gold ring, long thought lost, glitters in the morning light, its once perfect emerald cracked clean through. Her words are measured but firm. I lived years in shadows, first Diana's, then your mother's, then tradition itself. Taking the ring was never theft. It was a statement. I will not remain a footnote. I stand as your equal. For a moment, silence hangs like crystal in the air. Charles reaches for the ring, fingers brushing the scarred stone. Memories of his mother's steady hand and of quiet moments of duty flood back. The damage is undeniable, both to the jewel and to the trust they once shared. Camilla's final words echo as she turns toward the door. Rings can be mended. Fractures of the heart and the crown are not so easily healed. Her footsteps fade, leaving Charles surrounded by his own reflection, haunted not by anger, but by the weight of what cannot be undone. Far from the glittering palace in London, Balmoral Castle once again becomes the royal family's private nerve center. Its gates, recently the subject of endless speculation, now guard a meeting of extraordinary consequence. Prince William calls a confidential session with senior royals and key members of the Privy Council. The agenda is stark. Decide how to respond to the revelations from the Mirror Room and the growing unrest across the nation. Around a long oak table lie photographs of the cracked ring, security logs from the night of the disappearance, and written accounts of the confrontation between king and queen. The evidence speaks of a deep fracture that ceremony alone cannot hide. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective adds a new chapter to this unfolding conversation. And if you're fascinated by the hidden stories behind royal decisions, tap here to watch our next deep dive into the untold traditions and quiet power plays that shape Britain's monarchy.